Hello, friends, and welcome to another video lesson from DBO Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This video is in the playlist called Linux Tutorial, and here we'll be learning how to do or how to use Linux pipeline or piping. It's a technique in Linux wherein you can use two or more commands chained together using vertical bars, which are also called pipes. And how it works is that you have one command, shell command of Linux. The output of that becomes the input of the subsequent command. Okay, that's how it works. So just for this exercise, we will be leveraging on what we have learned in the two previous videos, which were on the head command as well as the tail command of Linux. So we'll be using those two, which you are hopefully a bit familiar with already just by watching the videos in this playlist, so that we could use those two in learning something new, which is the pipeline or piping. Now let's just refresh ourselves by using those commands individually. Okay, so let's just say I have a file here called practice.txt, and I just wanted to take a look at its contents, so we can use the command called cat that's used for viewing a relatively small file. Okay, so you can do that. Now, we can see that the file itself contains a couple of lines of text in there. Now, take a good look because we'll be using this file for the exercises that are to follow. Okay, if I wanted to display maybe the first 5 lines of this file, which means from here, 1, 2, including this empty line is also included. So lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it should be this. So if I will do that, I can remember it's from here is all the way up to this. So if I will just let me clear this, and I will say head and then -5, the number of lines, and then practice text. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's 5 lines. Now, similarly, if you wanted to just see maybe the last 3 lines of the same file, you can just say tail -3, and then the file name, and then it will surely show you the last 3 lines. Again, you can see an empty line there. That's not a mistake. The file itself, really, the second last line is empty, so that's why it's showing it in this manner. Okay, so now you've seen the head and the tail commands, although that's not really the main topic of this video, but mainly we will be using these two commands to do pipeline. Okay, so to do pipeline, like I said, you can use it for 2 or more commands, and they will be like chained together with the use of a vertical bar called a pipe. Now, what if we wanted to look at or display the eighth, okay, lines 8 to 10 of the file? Okay, that is the problem. Not really a problem, but the requirement. We want to display or show lines 8 to 10 of that file called practice.txt. Okay, so I could take a cue from the fact that the maximum line number being asked for is 10, so I could start with that. But keeping in mind that ultimately what's needed are lines 8 to 10, okay? So I'll just take note of this, 8 to 10. But I do know that the maximum is line 10. So I will do something like this. First is I would do a head, -10, and then practice. So this bit of command will show me the first 10 lines of the file called practice.txt, okay? So indeed, it shows me 10 lines. You don't need to count. It's for sure 10 lines. But bear in mind that the requirement was to show the lines 8 to 10. So that means line 8, line 9, line 10, which are these three over here. Okay, that is lines 8 to 10. Because right now what you're seeing is lines 1 to 10. Okay, so we will do what is called piping. Okay, so let me just clear it again. So in piping, what we will do is we will have a command and then we will have this pipe or vertical bar. The space is not necessary, but just for clarity, readability, I'm just using it. The space before and after the bar, just for readability. And then remember what we need are lines 8 to 10. So I will say tail hyphen 3. Okay, let's just, before I execute this, let's just take a look at this one. So this whole bunch here of text consists of two commands. The first one is here, just before the bar. And then the bar is like a boundary of sorts. And here's the second command. So what happens is that this will be executed first, and the output will be kept in the memory. We will not see it because it will be very quick. And then it becomes the input for the second command. All right. So here it'll show the first 10 lines of the file called practice.txt. You will not see it because it's in the memory, but it will be kept, and then it will be passed on as an input parameter to this command. That is why in the first command, you see the file name being mentioned, practice.txt. But in the second command, you don't see any file name being mentioned. That's because here the input, the source of its data being manipulated is or are the contents of this file. Whereas for the second command, it doesn't mention a file name because the input is being taken from the whatever is the output of this command. Okay, so ultimately this will be showing us what we needed, which is lines 8 to 10 of this file. Okay, and that's what we see, because like I said, it is actually a two-step a set of two commands being rolled into one via piping technique. Okay, so first is it data head. Okay, if you will just execute this part, let me just so you can see. So it displays the first 10 lines of that file, and then the second part tails this output, meaning getting the last 3 lines. So from here to here. And you can see it matches exactly the output of our command. Okay, so we have seen how Linux pipeline or piping works, and it's not so complicated. You can use it to chain together 2 or more commands, Linux commands, one after the other. And remember, whatever comes first becomes the output of that command becomes the input of the subsequent command. If there's a third command, then the output of the second command becomes the input of the third command. Okay, that's not so complicated. Thank you for watching and listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell and spread the word. I'll be seeing you in the next video.